Yeah, what's good, everybody? Good to be back, and thanks for everybody who participated in the chat last night. Always fun to do in the chat, guys. We tackled some real serious issues right now, and I'm going to sort of talk about where we are from them. Arsenal fans are feeling a bit bereaved at the moment, and they have appealed the red card for Eddie Nketiah. And this is off the back of James Tarkowski from Burnley, who went into the back of Jared Bowen last night. And the tackle was even more dangerous, and yet he wasn't even sent off. There was no red or anything like that. And this is the reason why you take a look at the two different things. And remember, I said if somebody does it, it's not that bad. But as soon as Arsenal do it, all hell breaks loose. And I'm not saying that Eddie Nketiah's tackle wasn't a red card. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the consistency moving forward has to be one that of everybody can agree what is a red, what is deemed a dangerous tackle, and what is agreed to be intentional as well, because Eddie's was not intentional. And as I said before on the podcast last night, if you look at the Mustafi's face from the Vardy challenge, he had studs in his face. If you look at the challenge from Eddie Nketiah, the guy didn't even have a scratch on his sock. So one can say that the guy pulled out because he twisted his leg sideways and there was minimal, if any, contact at all, and yet this guy gets a red card. And that's why I thought a yellow card initially was the correct call. But look, it was dangerous. If he had his foot planted, it would be a leg breaker. So you know what? Let's go by the law. But James Tarkowski yesterday does worse and gets away with it with Burnley and not even gets a red card. But not only that, but even after the game, we've seen instances like this happen where the FA go and review it and then they give the guy a ban. Nothing at all. No recluse in what he did whatsoever. So Mikel Arteta and Arsenal and Raul Selly and Edu have looked at this today and they thought, what kind of rubbish is this? So now we officially are bringing this to the FA to overturn Eddie Nketiah's 3-match ban. Now, it's not going to change the result against Leicester. That is what it is. But at the same time, what it means is that we can then use him for the Spurs game, in which I'm sure he's going to be ready to go and rearing to try and make amends for the mistake that he made. And look, I'm not going to chastise him. He's a player that I absolutely love. So I'm going to get behind Eddie Nketiah, as I do with all of our young players. So I think from that standpoint, let's see what the FA says. The decision will be made before the Spurs game. So let's hold tight on that and see what happens. A slight update on Matthew Guendouiz. Now, I've kept quiet on the situation because, again, I back our young players. I'm a big Guendouiz fan. And I also made a point when I talked to Tony Cox and I talked to Bertram about this. And I said, look, in American football or basketball, if somebody comes in for one of your players or someone has a cheap shot on your quarterback, the offensive linemen are the first people to defend your player. What we're seeing here is a clear instance where Guendouiz at the moment has got this beef with Arteta going way back to Dubai. Yeah, they had a little tussle in Dubai where the both of them had a fallout. And I think that this is reminiscence of the guy being passionate about sticking up for his teammate. And I know that there's ethics at play, but I probably would have done the same thing. And I've seen plenty players stick up for their other people at the same time. So look, that's his excuse. And that's why Guendouiz is not going to apologise for what he done. And in the mix of things, both sides need to come to an understanding, because we're hearing all this talk now about Arsenal's going to sell him, Arsenal's going to put him on the market. You know what? None of that's going to happen. Stay away from that media talk, yeah? He's an Arsenal player. They've invested in him and they're developing him, and he's going to continue to be an Arsenal player. The thing that they have to sort out at the front office side is how are they going to get through this? And maybe if they don't get through this and the player gets disenfranchised with the club, then he'll want to leave. But he loves Arsenal and it's a dream for him to play here. So I don't think that anything like that is going to happen in the short term. In the long term, maybe. But right for now, it's a club issue. They're dealing with it at the local level, and this is how it's going to work. So I expect something to be bowled over with that and something to happen. Will he play again this season? Probably not. And as I said, you've got players on the pitch now who are working hard and they've bought in to Arteta's philosophy. And if you have a winning formula, you have to keep it as such. And all the other distractions from the media, from the players, from all this other stuff, park it, yeah? Push it to one side and continue to roll with what's being successful. That is important to keep the formula going, to keep the tempo going with what's winning, yeah? You cannot destroy a winning formula. This ain't nothing like the 6-time Chicago Bull World Champions where Jerry Krause came in and just tried to break everything up, yeah? This isn't that. If you got something that's working right now in a club that's been failing at Arsenal at all levels, not just this season, but last season as well, going to Baku in the Europa Cup final and losing, and heads just dropping, people getting disenfranchised with the club. You've just got failure everywhere. So when you have something like this, you've got to run with what works. Speaking of running with what works, there is serious talks now with Dani Ceballos staying here for a second season, and Arteta is going to push that until he cannot push it anymore. I think it's the right thing to do. We talked about it on the podcast last night, and I think in that standpoint, we're going to have to look to see if this guy can fill the gap, because if he's not there, you're then banking on someone else coming in. And remember, Thomas Partey don't play in that position. And then you're also banking on somebody being brought in that's going to cost you money, or you hand the reins over to someone like Smith Rowe, or just put Saka or Pepe in that role, yeah? That's the only thing that you can really do, and you're working on a fine budget, yeah? You're not working on an infinite budget. You're working on something that is realistically within your budget to fix, and you don't have many options when it comes to that. So I believe that they'll find a working solution somehow. And as I said last night on the podcast, I do believe that Ceballos, from what I'm hearing, is really upbeat about the direction of this club, as well as Aubameyang. There's a reason why people are signing contracts, and there's a reason why people are committing themselves to the club, because they can see what's going on. It's not just the results, guys. It's how these results impact the players around them. And you go with what works. And this means even if we don't have a quality selection of players, as long as they're playing well within the system, then we have to ride that until the wheels fall off. Yeah, it's that simple. So I think that that's where we're going to go from there, guys. And listen, let's talk about the Spurs game. We're going to put a review up. We're going to name a team sheet and see where we go with that. All right, speak to you guys later. Right back at you. And hit that subscribe button, guys. Like this video. And I'll speak to you guys later, man. Peace out.